So I haven't filmed a whole lot today. I've just been kind of blasting through, put up 3 more panels. So I think the last time you guys saw I was probably putting up this panel. Right now we've got pretty much all the electrical on the passenger side is already run. I've got all of my 24 volt and 120 volt wires run here. Just need to put in the receptacles and boxes and finish that up. I've got basically tape just to, as a reminder of where my wires are run behind these panels. And so tomorrow I need to trim a piece that's going to fill this panel in and make the connection here for my porch light. Basically this whole side is going to be a massive closet storage that's going to go floor to ceiling. I'm going to have an accent light on the top. It's going to be pretty cool. And then I'm pretty excited for this. This is going to be my electrical cabinet for my consumables on this side. So I've got 2 outlets, so I'll have a total of 4 receptacles to plug into, and then I've got 3 HDMI cords and a Cat 6. So anything that's going to plug into the TV will be here behind a cupboard, so it's hidden out of the way. So I'll be able to put these components on a shelf, make a super short run HDMI to a wall outlet, and then the TV is going to mount just underneath here. And so we'll have 3 inputs, and then this will go to the smart TV for the Cat 6 for the internet, and this is the receptacle that the TV will plug into for power. Tomorrow I'll trim out a piece to fill in over here. The split door has been awesome with the shocks on it. I'm really excited to be able to actually start using it. I also put up a panel here in the corner. This is where my shower is going to go, so I know I'm not going to run much of electrical, if any, right here. So I went ahead and put that panel on. Pretty soon here I need to go get the electrical cabinet, or the bottom half that I built. That way I can put the batteries in, the inverter charger, plug in the solar, and get this thing operational. I still need to get some sort of 120 power distribution. I'll probably just go with the same sort of RV breaker panel that I went with on the last one. So just wanted to update you guys with that. Tomorrow or later tonight we'll be moving spots. That way tomorrow on Sunday I can cut some wood without bothering anybody. Next I'm going to install this 6-gang fuse outlet right here. This is basically going to power all these accessories right here. All this 24 volts going to plug into here. This is how it's going to get power. So we'll go ahead and start. We'll go ahead and start with mounting it, and then we'll go ahead and wire it up. Got a bunch of different kind of wire looms that I'm going to be covering these wires in. Some heat shrink. So we're going to use that to tidy up all these wires and make them look super clean. So I'm going to grab these wire strippers and come up to my main wire here. This is the main power wire that is going to come from another fuse distribution block that's going to be over there in the electrical cabinet. So in other words, what's going to supply power to all these other circuits. So I'm cutting the insulation all the way back, and here go my 2 wires, red and black. Gonna grab some of this wire loom here, measure that out. But before we do that, I need to go ahead and mount this unit. That way I know exactly where everything is going to go. So we'll go a little bit further up. That looks pretty good right here. Oh. Two more. Alright, here's a better look of what we have going on. Got that nice ring terminal heat shrink and the wire loom on here for our main power. And so I'm just going to start with whatever would be logical, just the shortest slack of run that I have, and I'll tap that in here, run the negative up to that side, and keep going from there. So I've just got 5 of these connections to make, positive and ground, so 10 total. Go ahead and just knock this out for you and check in when I'm done. Just trying to power through this while I still have some daylight left. I don't have any lights in here yet, so go ahead and knock this out, check back in with you when we're done. Happy Sunday to you guys. Just got to a new spot this morning and went ahead and finished up this fuse distribution panel I've got here. So probably for the rest of the day, I'll use the outlets that I do have. Unfortunately, they're the wrong color. I wanted to go with all white outlets on this build, and I have some leftover black ones from my last build. So I'm going to go ahead and just use those for the outlets that are going to be hidden inside of the cabinets, such as this, and then these two up here up top. That's what's going to power my Starlink, Xbox, any kind of other accessories, also my sound system. So I was installing this outlet and I figured I'd give you guys just a little tip that I learned from doing my last van. So naturally in these vehicles, we just don't typically have a whole lot of depth in the mounting for the electrical box. So in order to get this flush, I needed to get a shallow mounting box, which is only about this deep for lack of better measurement tools. So once we put in an outlet that has USB capability, there's circuitry behind these and they get pretty thick. And so in order for this to sit flush when it's all said and done, I had to get these outlet spacers. So I got a bunch of these and this is what they look like. So basically you put this in between your outlet box and your outlet. And so for these thicker outlets with the shallow box, I know it's not exactly flush and I still have to tweak this and get it all tightened up, but this allows you to at least have your trim plate flush and then you don't have a gap between your wall and your outlet. I went to the storage yesterday and picked up a few things, so let me show you what I got. This is the base for the electrical cabinet and the rear seating area. I'm also going to have a small bench over here so you can sit on either side. But anyway, this is where all the batteries, inverter charger, a lot of fuse blocks, distribution blocks, everything is going to be pretty much in here. And in order to properly secure this and start building the top for the bench for the seat, I really need to punch a hole all the way through this beam and get these wires to run on the inside of this panel along with the panel or the wire for the solar. So alright, so that's all done. Same thing as the other side, just 2 holes. Gonna fish this through the pillar right here, and then I'll probably have to make a couple runs with the router in order to run these cables behind the panel right here. And then I think what I came up with this, I've got a couple things, a couple challenges with the location of where this wire comes through. It's not further enough outward to run into this channel, and also if I put a panel up here and try to run it straight, we've got this piece of aluminum on the box frame that's in the way. And so in efforts to run everything through the same channel, I'm going to punch 2 holes here with a really small hole saw, put a grommet through so I can run this cable through this support beam, come over here and down with the rest of the wires. So that is next on the list. And so I actually gave this another coat of paint. I sanded everything down with the orbital sander. It got a little beat up in storage and just with transporting it around. I built it a little bit too early in the build stage, and so you know, it was kind of a big clunky object to try to move around. If you haven't watched any previous videos, the electrical setup is going to be 2 of these 100 amp hour 24 volt light times, along with a single 224 volt as well. That's going to sit right here. So I have 10 kilowatt hours of power. I'm going with the same Sun Gold solar inverter charger that I'm running in my U-Haul build. That's going to sit somewhere right there. And then I'm going to have, I think what I've decided on for the 120 breaker distribution is I'm just going to run that same panel that I have in my U-Haul. It makes it really easy to plug everything in. And so I'll have to build like a false wall that comes out to right about here to house that and have room to run wires in and out. This is the recess channel that I have for the wires to run towards the kitchen. So it'd be really convenient just to have everything right here. I can punch into the wall, make my runs over there, and it would be super clean. That way you don't have a bunch of wire loom with, you know, a bunch of wires, pretty thick runs just going in and out. Make it super clean. And if you're wondering what these cutouts are for, specifically made that, really just started to showcase the battery, and so I ended up making a few more, and what we're going to do is put plexiglass behind here and also illuminate this whole box. So I plan on putting a decent amount of work into wire routing, putting wire loom and heat shrink on everything. These are the battery cables that Brad made for me when we were in the LTVA spot when we began the build. And so we'll kind of continue this theme with the braided loom. So what I'm going to do now is I've slightly changed the position of the batteries in order to center it perfectly in this opening. When we first mounted these batteries, I didn't even have the walls built on the side, so I'm going to go ahead and just put these battery hold downs back on. We've got these straps that we use along with these hold downs that I'm going to screw into the floor of the box. And that'll pretty much wrap it up for today. Gonna run out of sunlight here pretty soon. It's about 6:30, which means we've got about another hour of sunlight left, and it's another beautiful day. I've got some wire and also have a breaker distribution panel that does 120 and 12 or 24 volt, and that is what's going to manage all of my circuitry here. So I'm going to have all these wires come into this box, and also a main coming out of here going into here to supply power to everything. And then we're going to run a ton of wires behind this panel. This is going to be the kitchen right here, and so I really need to nail down exactly where all of my outlets are going to go, because this is the time to do it. Alright, so we got to strip some wire real quick. Came up short on this right here, so got to add a little Wago connector and extend these so they'll fit right over here. Need to get more of these. Ted is very curious as to what's going on. Always ready to lend a hand. Been getting a little hectic around here with the parking situation. I think now I've talked to a ranger probably like 4 or 5 times so far. Pretty wild. Yeah. Alright, so we've got this connection made. All this needs to do is just come over here. I just came up a little short on the wires there, so no big deal. I'm gonna stuff all these behind here. and then they're going to come out through here. If it all works as planned. Oh, I've got to extend these solar cables too. Definitely got to make sure you play with one at a time, because the sun is out today and these are live, Bubba. This is the wire I got for solar. 10 gauge wire. Alright, so this is kind of what I have going so far. We've got the negative coming from the left bank of the battery, positive coming from the other bank here. That's going to go directly into a fuse holder, into a battery disconnect. The negative side is going to come into the Victron Bluetooth battery shunt. And from here, we're both going to go into the distribution blocks. For today, I ran out of the correct ring terminals to use here. Mainly for this piece here, I need a bigger ring terminal. So those are coming in tomorrow. But basically, this is pretty much how the layout is going to be here. From distribution blocks, we'll go to breakers, and from breakers, we'll go to either a fuse panel. For right here, I'm going to a step-down converter, just in case I need anything 12 volt. Then on this side, we'll go from distribution blocks right into the really big breaker, and that's going to go directly into the solar inverter charger. So I'm all out of parts to continue today. We'll go ahead and enjoy the nice weather that we have for today, and catch you guys tomorrow. Okay, so far I have the input for the solar panel going to a breaker. This is going to go out to the solar panel wire that's ends right here. And I was going to continue wiring from the inverter back to the distribution until I realized that I'm missing the bolts that hold the main power cable terminals. So, and it's not 1/4 it's smaller than that, so I'm gonna have to figure out what size bolts those are and buy them. Yeah, it didn't say anywhere in the manual, so that's kind of a bummer. I was hoping to plug this in and see it all work today, but so far on this side, you guys just saw me install this fuse right here, the main fuse. We've got the Victron smart shunt right here, our main battery switch. And so we're gonna go ahead and flip this for the first time, and I'm gonna see if I can pair up to this Bluetooth shunt. That way we can kind of see what's going on with our batteries just as they sit stationary. And from there, well, we'll easily be able to plug in some 24-volt stuff temporarily, wire up some lights and stuff like that so I can work at night in here, which is very exciting. And so let's go ahead and do that. See a little blue light come on there.